we would there are definitely some difficulties and some glitches that we face. I mean, so far on this my trip to Buea, what are some of those major difficulties that the interim government in general has been facing so far?
I think like any thing that you begin with baby steps,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of difficulties to get it off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be very honest to you uh, that the extent to which we had hoped that we were going to share this information, our people were going to engage. I know they're beginning to pick up. It was a little bit slow.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been a little bit slow because of the reasons that I had outlined before, that you have early adopters and then late bloomers. Some people are going to take the leap of faith to get on board, and others are going to take a while to adopt the program. So I think if we can overcome and get our people to keep pushing this message, and also the detractors who are out there trying to undermine the campaign, they should understand that at the end of the day, if the campaign succeeds, all of us would succeed. They should understand that if you are not in support of the campaign, the best thing to do, if you have limited information, please call in, and you will be debriefed as to the objectives of the campaign. And if you feel that you don't really want to do that, please just leave the campaign alone. Proceed with whatever you're doing. I strongly believe that this collection of all of these movements that we have in the struggle, each and every one of us have a role to play. There is just no reason to be going after one another. Whatever processes or activities people are engaging, for me, if it's going to take us to Buea, so be it. And I am hopeful that we can ignore some of the distractions, some of the talk about uh, the corruption or the way things are being done within the interim government. And I think I need to assure people to understand that as far as the finances are concerned,
Yes.
we have put in place very solid internal controls that I can assure you that each dollar that comes in can be accounted to the dollar. We can account for what has come in, what we've spent that money for. At any time that you call the Department of Economy and Finance, you're going to get that information. Please ignore the information that you have out there that is based on innuendo speculation, a complete misrepresentation of the financial activities or the financial transaction of the interim government. I have the information. If you want clarity, call the number that we've given, the 202-871-9330, and we'll clarify your doubts. Now, I indicated there's some limitations. We can black out some of the information. We can redact some of the information because we're not going to give our enemy or
The
expose
clear
our
picture.
enemy our watches. Then you're giving them the time to plan and out fox or outmaneuver you. So the information will be limited to the expenditures and how the money is coming in. But I'm not going to tell you or give you our balance sheet at any time because then you would know that this is we can maybe stretch them out to this point and they will not be able to sustain. So this information, the financial information, is really going to be limited. And the difficulty too has been we have to start from scratch, from the budgeting aspect of it, because this is not something that we have a historical budget in place that we can draw from that inspiration and say, okay, this is our anticipation on what we're going to spend. All of these things that we're doing, they are based on a zero-based budget,
Mm-hmm.
meaning we have to start from zero. We have to set a precedent. And some of these things that we're actually going through right now, these are things that have never been done
before.
We don't have a government that is basically spread across the globe and with no territory to control, no steady source of revenue for you to say they have to plan in advance. Those are some of the difficulties that we are having. But with the passing of time and more people, I am happy that some of our senior elites, some of the people who came here in the 70s, 80s, are beginning to really reach out to us. I would tell you that the struggle is moving from the activism on social media to people who actually have begun to see that they cannot just sit by and allow the complete dissemination of communities and allow the ethnic cleansing that is ongoing right now to continue. So they are beginning to come on board. And I think that is why you see us strategically putting in the $25,000 family combo and just 20 places. When we hit the 20 places, we are going to take that option out because this is highly converted for these individuals. And I'm happy that I've reached out to a couple of them. So we have provided what they have requested. And you can go online. A lot of them are concerned about their privacy. A lot of the people who own businesses in Cameroon, they are concerned about being exposed and the consequences that they can get from the ruthless regime in Yaoundé. So what we are telling them is you can do your donations anonymously online. If you don't feel comfortable going online, call us. We'll come to you and pick up that donation. And we're going to give you a number. And that will be your tracking number. Anytime that will get to Buea and anybody is going to say anything about your contributions, there is a number that we're going to identify that you were number this on the list of anonymous donors. So people should rest assured that their credibility, their privacy is going to be a top priority. Or it's already a top priority in the interim government because we're not going to expose everybody. We still need some people who can go down to ground zero to give us required information. So we are encouraging those who still believe that they have a role to play, whether you are a unionist, whether you are a federalist, you cannot sit comfortably and see what is going on presently on the ground. A lot of these individual people whose villages have not been touched, you might not feel the pain. When they started down in Manu, completely engaging in ethnic cleansing by driving people from their villages, and then abandoning old and elderly people in the villages, killing people with reckless abandon. Everybody thought that pressure was going to stick in Manu. You can see how the whole thing has morphed to the northern zone right now. It moved to Kwakwam Bonge,
Batibo
Ashong. You see the beheading of a handicapped person. How wicked can you be to kill a handicapped person and then behead them? We heard about beheadings in the Middle East. There is no way that we thought this could visit upon our people. So these are things that people have to understand and put them into perspective. For how long are we going to allow this situation to unravel? Do you want to see a Sierra Leone or a Liberia style situation? Do you want to see a Rwandan style genocide? Do you want to see a drawn out war like South Sudan? No. And that is why we think that this is the time. This is the time for us to embrace my trip to Buea, because it is going to give us the resources to make sure that the Republic of Amazonia is long-lived, but this struggle is short-lived, as Sissoko Ayoktabe would always say. So it is very important. This is a clarion call to our people who are out there, our people who still believe that we as a people still have a right to life. I don't feel comfortable knowing that my people are living in an open-air prison. There is just no justification. There is no justification for me to sit comfortably by. I go on celebrations while there are people within our own communities who are not sure of a single meal a day in the refugee camps. The number of people who have abandoned these villages that have been hard hit by the forces of lawlessness of the government of Cameroon, that have moved into other small villages. And if you fall back and look at the economic impact of this struggle, we are looking at the human impact right now. But you have to put into perspective, at the end of this struggle, what is going to be the economic situation in that region? More and more businesses are moving away from the region. Almost 5,000 farmers have abandoned their cocoa farms. The small farm holders who live on subsistence on their cash crops, they have abandoned their crops in the farms are in the refugee camps. Bloomberg indicated that Cameroon is going to get a shortage of close to about 100,000 tons of cocoa. And majority of this shortage is going to come from two English regions, the Republic of Southern Cameroon. This is a huge economic blow. What the government of Cameroon is trying to do is to completely economically amphibiate the entire region. So a lot of the attention has been put on the human casualty, the sufferings, but the economic impact that this struggle is exerting on the entire region. Look at the schools. A school like Okoyom, QRC Okoyom, that had a capacity of, before the strike, about 300 to 400 students. If you go there today, you have about 100 and something students. It's a huge economic blow to that region. The chain effect, those women who used to sell even puff to the students, the ripple effect is huge. So I think it is time that we look at these things and move away from the simplistic narrative that we have, that this is beginning to affect the lives of our people, and it's going to be a long-term problem if we are going to allow this thing to draw out. Not only are we going to have the difficulties of resettlement, canceling, and trying to give these people a likelihood of a new life, we'll be dealing with communities that are scarred forever. So there is a clarion call that this is the moment. This is the moment. If it was permissible in the beginning of this struggle that you would decide to sit on the sideline, that you would decide to say, all right, I am not part of it. If it was permissible for you to think the measures that were taken by the government in the beginning were meant to restore law and order, it is no longer permissible. With what we have seen, with the barbarity, the reckless disregard of the sanctity of human life, of what the government has done to our people, we do not have anything against the government in Yaoundé. They should leave us in peace. They should deal with their situation. We did not, this struggle did not emanate from us going in there to try to change the government. We are telling the world loud and clear that for 57 years of the injustices, for 57 years of the subjugation, for 57 years of the complete disrespect of the people of Southern Cameroon, the extortion of the resources from the people of Southern Cameroon. It is time for us to stand up as a people to defend that which we proudly and strongly believe that belongs to us. No one is going to do it for us. If you look at it, you think there is some level of international conspiracy against the people of Southern Cameroons. Now, because where in the world would you find out, or would you find at this time, that people are abducted for close to 3 months and they are deported to the lion's den where they are afraid and have escaped from, and the international community is quiet? Wherever you are at your home, how do you feel about the families of these individuals? It is not just painful not knowing where they are. It is the complete disregard of the government in Yaoundé, the complete disregard of the international community to the pain and sufferings of these people. So we are at our own, and we believe that we can.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Tabenyang. It's 14 minutes after 4 o'clock in after 4 o'clock in on Eastern Time. It's 14 minutes after 9 o'clock in Buea. It's 14 minutes after 9 o'clock in Ekona. It's 14 minutes after 9 o'clock in Widikum Batibo, and you can name the rest. And I want to say that Mr. Echu is open for questions, and we have pushed the buttons and the phone lines are all open. If you have your personal question that you want to ask Mr. Tabenyang Echu, the lines are open. It's 240-813-4448. It's 240-813-4448. For those who are calling from the international site, you have to put a +1 240-813 and 4448. While we wait for the questions to be coming in through the phone, I will have my own personal question that I want to ask. The people of Southern Cameroons, they have an issue of, this is what we see on the social media, that they have an issue of unity within self-defense groups. And as per the last talk that I had with His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako Ekome, he made us to understand that the interim government is doing something to put these self-defense groups together on one head and one foot. So, but it appears that some are still standing on one side. And do you have anything to say about that? Because that is a major concern. We keep receiving emails, we keep receiving messages from the public out there into our studio email lines to pass them on to whoever we get the opportunity to catch. That we've caught you today. So, do you have anything on that?
Yes, Dexter, thank you. I think that the issue about this unity is grossly exaggerated.
Okay.
I will be very candid with you. Except we are not honest to ourselves. You can get people who are spread across the globe with different backgrounds. Believe me, the experiences the people in China have, they are different from the experiences the people in Russia and the experiences that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk here freely, but probably in Russia or in China, you cannot talk freely.
You cannot.
So nobody would expect that within a period of 12 months, all of these different segments of our community were going to come together, and overnight we're going to agree. So I think personally that the idea about the unity within the social media is, to me, a little bit exaggerated. But that does not necessarily mean that we are going to neglect the perceived arguments that are going around within circles, particularly among the frontline leadership. So, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako felt that the key to us having some level of control with what is going on the ground, the key to not getting into a situation where you have lawlessness, you don't want to win the struggle and you lost the state, is for him to encourage the people who are engaged in self-defense. Now, be mindful, the interim government has always advocated for diplomacy and the peaceful resolution of this problem. But you also have to come to the rational conclusion that these kids on the ground have been cornered to a point where they have to fight back. If their means of sustenance, their means of livelihood, their economic survival is being completely destroyed, what do you expect? They're going to fight back. If you push somebody who does not know how to swim and you get to the point of the river, they're going to fight back. And this is the position that they have put these kids on the ground. And we have a responsibility to make sure that we control them as they defend themselves. Not because we're encouraging them to engage in
violent
activities. No, but even here in this country, they recognize that you have a right to defend your house. And that is why the Second Amendment is very, very important in this country. Because you're not going to sit by and allow somebody to walk in or allow a stranger to come in, burn your entire village, something that you've known for life, and you sit back without doing anything. So he felt that it would be proper and the prudent thing to do for him to get all of these individuals who are engaged in self-defense to sit together and try to come up with a common platform that they can talk to one another.
Okay.
That he had succeeded to do about 90%. Now, I'm going to go back to the narrative that I gave you before when we talked about my trip. You have early adopters and late bloomers. You don't expect that everybody is going to come on board at the same time. And I want to just use the narrative of the media to show how some of this is overblown by our social media platforms. And unfortunately, SCTV and the rest, all of them are in that category of our communicators. If you, all of you from SCTV, SCBC, all the Argos and Bomo Live and all the social media platforms, all of you guys have one single objective, is to go to Buea. That is a common thing that we all agree, right? Is it possible for anybody to expect all of you to fall under the same umbrella? Like everybody now has to fall under SCBC. Would that be possible? It's practically not possible. Are we going to say there's disunity among our social media activists or our mouthpiece out there? Now you see the hypocrisy. When the same people in the social media would not in their lifetime agree to go under the same umbrella. Now they try to portray it to the other groups and say you guys are not united. You see the point.
Right, I see.
So it is very, very important for us to understand that we are not going to agree on all the issues. But we have a single objective, which is Buea. And we're going to do our best to get everybody on board, but I'm not going to assure you that is going to happen. Even here in this country, there are two parties. There is an independent and a green party. To tell you that there is no single society that you're going to get everybody to agree. If not, Satan should still be in heaven.
You're right. Okay. Now I have just one last question from my side. My next question is in the days of Skakov, we have this. I'm bringing this because you spoke of some lawsuit we have this lawsuit that was running in the days of Skakov, and the beautiful and hardworking people of Ambazonia. They raised some $35,000 that was sent to some lawsuit. Again, I'm bringing this because you made mention of lawsuit, and I'm talking about this because you are in charge of finance for the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. So, you being in this position, did you actually get some time to do a throwback to check on how the finances of the hard-earned finances of the people of Ambazonia was spent so far? Looking at the lawsuit, we heard about the lawsuit, the Foley Hawk lawsuit, the money that was sent to them. Is there any work being done on that side? And I don't know if you have an answer for that. Again, if it's something that should be said, yeah, okay. If it's not, if it is strategic, we keep it strategic.
No, I think it's something that we can address, even by the limited information that I do possess at this time. And I think the focus within the Department of Economy and Finance, when we came in, was first of all to stabilize and then put in a proper structure in place. And the issues that happened also affected the speed with which we were going to put these structures in place. Now we're going to move to the second phase, identifying some of the shortcomings during the SCAPAC era. So that is something that the department is going to take up with the fiscal administrator in place. We're going to try to work with the team that was in place before, if they would be, if they would comply and they would be ready to work with us to try to get to some of these differences that have occurred. But I think I remember the treasurer for in SCAPAC had indicated in one of the audios or videos that I saw circulating on the website that a complete audit has been completed, and the board of directors of SCAPAC are in keeping of that information. So we'll find a way to communicate with them and engage them on answering some of these questions that are persistent and people keep asking what actually happened. But I also want you to be mindful that the relationship between SCAPAC and the interim government was terminated after the fourth conclave. For some of us who were not there, I was not a member of SCACUV, I was not in the governing council, so we came in during the interim government. And my focus was to engage people to make sure that we keep a focus and a strict attention on the way we were going to manage the finances of the interim government, and at least having a structure that is credible, that even if I am not there, somebody can walk in today and go on whatever structure or software we are using and pull up information that could make sense and provide it to the grassroots. So, but I am going to assure you that these things will take time, based on the fact that most of the people within the government are still doing or offering their services on a voluntary basis. So I think that is why you will not see quick resolutions of some of these things.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I have a question again that I want to add on that. You being a member of the interim government, and we heard His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sakwe Kome. He said that he has put in place a team, to dig into the root cause of the disappearance or abduct or kidnapped of our president, His Excellency Sisiku Ayub Tabe. Do you have any idea of? I mean, is there any? Do you have any idea if there have been some work done so far? Any information? That question is just coming from one of our viewers there. So
yes, I think the information that I have and I would have to share is that yes, the team has been constituted. I would not preempt the extent of the work that is being done. I would allow them to do the work, and they would communicate with the public at an appropriate time. You do not want to engage in an ongoing investigation. And it's just also at this time, I think I would just reassure the people that they should be confident that the interim government and His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako is doing his utmost best to make sure that we get to the bottom of the investigation. And I think for some of you might have seen other people floating their own private initiatives out there investigating what actually transpired.
Mm-hmm.
We are also thankful that because of the support that we receive through donations from the community, we were able to at least afford the legal services that resulted to the release of two of the leaders who were left behind in Nigeria. With the advice of the lawyers, the lawyers had advised that we should give them some time to recuperate, and then we could engage in
other matters
and having conversation with them. I know a lot of people are also uncomfortable that, oh, they have not spoken to them, but we should understand the security challenges that most of the leadership they face. Even for those of us who are here, you have to be very careful where you go, who you talk to, and who you
hang around with
presently, because this is no longer a joke. This is a high stake situation that we have engaged in. Anybody who is still considering that as okay, it's just a bunch of individuals who are dissatisfied with the Cameroon government, I think is making a huge mistake, because you have a lot of economic implications involved in this struggle. That particular contraption you call Southern Cameroon being the breadbasket of the entire sub-region and the huge potential in natural resources, you have to understand that the French and other players are intricately involved, and all of this juggling that is going on behind the scenes. We get into this office today, they come in tomorrow with a whole lot of money, and whatever they told you there yesterday, the story changes today. And that is why it is very important that we have to try to get to a point where we have the necessary resources, that even if they are going to come in, we have the ability to go to so many places that they would have to spend that money to a point where they would not be able to do it. So that is the strategy. If they're going to come in, we spend $1, they spend $1,000. Let's go to 1,000 places. Let them spend as much as possible. So we are also looking into launching an economic divestment program. We're going to go after the companies, particularly multinational companies, who are actually financing that government. Not because they're giving them the money to fight and kill our people, but because the taxes that they are providing for the goods and services that they're providing to that country, that money is being used to buy ammunition, to pay the forces of lawlessness, and to engage in the ethnic cleansing and genocide that is currently ongoing. So if you are ExxonMobil, Total, and you're engaged in exploration in that place, we are going to engage in economic sabotage from here to tie you to the atrocities that are being committed on our people. If you are exploiting timber in that area, we are going to tie you here. So we're going to be very, very aggressive. We cannot allow the people or the government to continue using the resources of our people to kill our people.
Against us. Yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have been on this program for 1 hour, 28 minutes, and I must say that it's been a long one, and I want to thank you, Mr. Echu, Mr. Tabenyang, for coming again, and we would like to just give a minute or two for you to, round up. If you have anything to add on top of all my 1 million questions that I've been asking you, if you have something to add on that, you can just add up so we can round up the show.
Yeah, I think I want to thank you.
Thank you
for the selfless services that you offer to this community. I think the efforts and the sacrifice that you have committed to this struggle, and I think the entire family, given that I am close to the family now, is laudable. That is a call to duty for people within your generation and my generation, that it is incumbent upon us to make sure that we do not miss this unique opportunity that has been given to us. The level of awareness that we have at this moment has never in the history of this struggle. So, in as much as some people think that the struggle is faltering, the level of awareness that we have generated to even 2, 3 years old kids talking about this struggle is huge. So, please go to mytriptobuea.com and select an option today to make that donation. Please text Buea to 41444 if you are living here in the United States and Canada. This challenge has a call to the cabinet members because charity begins at home. The entire cabinet members and members of ancillary organs within the interim government and the country coordinators, we are going to commit to at least a minimum of $1,000 to make sure that everybody, that to demonstrate to our people that we are committed in this struggle. There are people who have already bought tickets, the Sesoko class, within the cabinet. But there's a baseline that everybody, and you can do these payments instrumentally, partially. So for those who cannot afford that within a single purchase, you can do the partial payments instrumentally. For those of you here in the United States, this is a very unique moment. We have the benefit that this is the tax season. Please consider it an obligation. Consider it a moral responsibility to provide the basic necessities for those of our brothers, the unfortunate brothers and sisters, the old parents in the refugee camps. Please go to the website. Please text Buea to 41444 and make a donation to support my trip to Buea. And please, if you want to talk to the interim government, call 202-871-9330 and ask to talk to each department, and you'll be directed to the Secretary of State for that department or the director of that ancillary organ at any time. There is a live receptionist that will pick up your call and ask you what department you want to talk to. If you want to talk to the presidency, tell them you want to talk to the presidency. So once again, Dexter, thank you. Thank you to all the televiewers. Please do not forget, go to the website, text Buea to 41444 for those of you in the US and Canada. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And just to recap, it's 4144. You text Buea to 4144, and this has been a very, very interesting talk show on my trip to Buea on the Southern Cameroons Television, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be rounding up, but before we go, I want to remind us about the container for those who are living in the United States of America, especially in the DMV area. Please be reminded of the container loading that's going on. If you have those used dresses or shoes, hats, whatever clothing that you're not using anymore, maybe you've grown bigger or maybe you just don't like it, please remember that we have people down there in Nigeria who do not even have something 1 million times close to what you want to put in the trash. Please just do your collections, put them in the back. You can contact SCTV on the number which is right here on the screen, or you can call the president, or the 202-817-9330, or you can get to Mr. Commenter Elvis if you can reach him, and they are going to arrange somebody will pick that up from you, or they will tell you how to deliver them so that they can be sent down to Nigeria for our comrades who are actually in desperate need of them. Without having much to say, we would also like to announce the release of our upcoming blockbuster movie, The Patriots, which was written and directed by Dexter, a certain guy called Dexter Brains. We don't know who that guy is. It's going to be premiered on July 1st in the Greenbelt movie theater. So please, you might want to grab a ticket now before it runs out.